I forced my parents to confront their bias as I became a world-class artist. The Whitaker household was a place of stark contrasts. On one side, there was Olivia, the golden child, whose every achievement was celebrated with fanfare. On the other side, there was me, the forgotten child, whose talents and interests were often overlooked. From a young age, Olivia excelled in everything she did. She was the star of the school plays, the captain of the debate team, and the valedictorian of her class. Our parents, Mr. and Mrs. Whitaker, doted on her, their pride evident in every photograph that adorned the walls of our home. I, on the other hand, was the quiet one. While Olivia basked in the spotlight, I found solace in my sketchbook. Drawing was my escape, my way of expressing the emotions I couldn't put into words. But to my parents, it was just a hobby, a frivolous pastime that paled in comparison to Olivia's accomplishments. "Lucian, why don't you join the soccer team like Olivia?" my father would often say, his tone tinged with disappointment. "It's a great way to make friends." I would nod, but my heart wasn't in it. Soccer wasn't my passion. Art was. But no matter how many sketches I showed them, no matter how many awards I won at school art competitions, my parents never seemed to notice. One evening, as I sat in my room, sketching by the dim light of my desk lamp, Olivia burst in, her face flushed with excitement. "Lucian, guess what?" she exclaimed, waving a piece of paper in her hand. "I got accepted into Harvard." I forced a smile, my heart sinking. "That's great, Olivia. Congratulations." My parents rushed in, their faces beaming with pride. "Our little girl, going to Harvard." My mother gushed, pulling Olivia into a tight hug. "We're so proud of you." I watched from the sidelines, my sketchbook forgotten on my desk. It was always like this, Olivia's achievements overshadowing everything else. I felt invisible, my own dreams and aspirations buried under the weight of her success. That night, as I lay in bed, I made a decision. I would prove to my parents that I was more than just a forgotten child. I would show them that my art was not just a hobby, it was my passion, my talent, my future. I threw myself into my art with a newfound determination. I spent hours perfecting my technique, experimenting with different mediums, and pushing the boundaries of my creativity. I entered every art competition I could find, determined to make a name for myself. But it wasn't easy. My parents' indifference was a constant source of frustration. They barely acknowledged my efforts. Their attention always focused on Olivia. "Lucian, why don't you focus on something practical?" my father would say, his tone dismissive. "Art won't pay the bills." I bit back my frustration, my resolve hardening. I would prove them wrong. I would show them that my art was worth something. My big break came unexpectedly. I entered a national art competition, submitting a piece that I had poured my heart and soul into. It was a portrait of our family, but with a twist. Olivia was in the foreground, bathed in light, while I was in the background, shrouded in shadows. To my astonishment, I won first place. The judges praised my work for its emotional depth and technical skill, and I was invited to showcase my art at a prestigious gallery in New York City. I couldn't believe it. This was my chance to prove myself, to show my parents that my art was more than just a hobby. I arrived home, my heart pounding with excitement. I couldn't wait to share the news with my parents. But as I walked through the door, I was met with the usual indifference. "Lucian, where have you been?" my mother asked, her tone distracted. "Olivia just called. She's coming home for the weekend." I took a deep breath, my excitement fading. "Mom, Dad, I have something to tell you." They turned to me, their expressions blank. "What is it, Lucian?" my father asked, his tone impatient. "I won first place in a national art competition," I said, my voice trembling with emotion. "I'm going to showcase my art in New York City." There was a moment of silence, and then my father sighed. "That's nice, Lucian, but don't let it distract you from your studies. Art won't pay the bills." I felt a surge of anger, but I bit it back. "This is important to me, Dad. It's my passion." My mother gave me a sympathetic smile. "We're happy for you, Lucian, but you have to be realistic. Art is a tough field." I clenched my fists, my frustration boiling over. "Why can't you just be proud of me? Why is it always about Olivia?" My parents exchanged a glance, their expressions unreadable. "Lucian, we love you," my mother said, her tone gentle, "but we just want what's best for you." I shook my head, tears stinging my eyes. "What's best for me is to follow my passion. And if you can't see that, then maybe you don't really know me at all." The day of the exhibition arrived, and I stood in the gallery, my heart pounding with a mix of excitement and anxiety. The room was filled with people, their eyes scanning the artwork on display. I stood by my piece, a large canvas that depicted the struggles of the forgotten child. It was raw, emotional, and deeply personal, a reflection of my journey. As the guests admired my work, I felt a sense of validation. This was my moment, my chance to shine. But then, I saw them, my parents, standing in the corner of the room, their expressions unreadable. My heart sank. I hadn't expected them to come. I approached them, my nerves on edge. "Mom, Dad, I didn't think you'd be here." My father cleared his throat, his tone awkward. "We wanted to see what all the fuss was about." I nodded, my heart heavy. "Well, this is my work. This is what I've been working towards." My mother gave me a small smile. "It's different, but we're proud of you, Lucia." I felt a surge of emotion, but I bit it back. Thank you. As the night went on, I noticed my parents lingering by my piece, their expressions thoughtful. I approached them, my heart pounding. "What do you think?" I asked, my voice tentative. My father sighed, his tone heavy with regret. "Lucian, we didn't realize how much this meant to you. We didn't realize how much we've overlooked you." I felt a lump in my throat, my emotions threatening to spill over. "It's not just about the art, Dad. It's about being seen, being valued." My mother reached out, her hand trembling as she touched my arm. "We're so sorry, Lucian. We didn't mean to make you feel this way." I nodded, tears streaming down my face. "I just wanted you to be proud of me." My father pulled me into a hug, his voice choked with emotion. "We are proud of you, Lucian. We always have been. We didn't show it." The exhibition was a turning point for our family. My parents began to see me in a new light, their pride in my achievements growing with each passing day. Olivia too began to understand the impact of her success on me. She reached out, her tone filled with regret. "Lucian, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how much my achievements overshadowed yours." I smiled, my heart lighter than it had been in years. "It's okay, Olivia. We're all learning." As I stood in the gallery, surrounded by my artwork and the people who loved me, I felt a sense of peace. I had finally found my place in the world, and I knew that my parents were proud of me. Years passed, and my art continued to gain recognition. I became a world-famous artist, my work celebrated for its emotional depth and technical skill. My parents, too, had changed. They became my biggest supporters, their pride in my achievements evident in every conversation. As I stood before my latest piece, a portrait of our family, this time with all of us in the foreground, bathed in light, I felt a sense of closure. I had honored my journey. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more interesting stories happening around you.